want to welcome you to the meeting tonight. Excuse me, I'm sorry, I'm losing my word. I'd ask Mr. Bill Shirley if he would open in prayer, please. Okay, nominations for temporary chair are now in order.
I make a motion to elect Larry Wills as temporary chair.
Second.
I make a motion to close the nomination.
Make a motion for Bill Shirley to chair.
Okay. One motion at a time. We have on the floor at this point, the open, the motion is for temporary chair. Larry Wills has been nominated and seconded. I'm sorry,
I believe the vote was called before Mr. Shirley's name was announced.
the call was to close nominations. That is correct. Okay. So at this time, we ask for a vote on the closing of nominations, correct? So, all in favor of closing nominations for temporary chair, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed?
Nay.
It seems to me that the ayes have it. Okay. So Larry Wills.
Next item of business is the election of a temporary secretary. Do I have a nomination for secretary?
I make a motion for Sharon Kern for secretary.
A motion for Sharon Kern for secretary. Do I have a second?
Second.
And a second. Any further nominations? Do I have a motion that nominations closed and Sharon Kern be elected by acclamation?
I make a motion to close.
Motion closed. Do I have a second?
Second.
And second. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Nominations are closed. Sharon Kern is elected secretary. And come forward, Sharon, and sit to take the minutes here. Thank you, Sharon. Next item of business will be the appointment of committees. First off, we have on the Rules Committee, I have Marshall Patty as chair, Laura Markin, and John Sweat. Nominations Committee, Randy Houff is chair, Jason Sarles, and Frankie Coiner. Chief Teller will be Gene Shrewsbury. Parliamentarian will be Tim Martin. Our timekeeper will be Ed Long. Our Credentials Committee will be Gene Shrewsbury, Kathy Jenkins, and one member from each of the candidates. I've asked the candidates, each candidate appointed member to be on that Credentials Committee. I will ask the committees to meet and report back to me as quickly as possible. Our parliamentarian tonight will be Mr. Tim Martin. Our Sergeant at Arms tonight, I will ask Mr. Dave Carafa. He will serve as our Sergeant at Arms. While we're waiting on the Credentials Committee, I'll have a report from the Rules Committee. I will note that there were no rules of the committee established by the Augusta County Board, so we will be using the model rules from the for mass meeting from the State Republican.
I'll read the rules to everyone. This mass meeting shall, to the extent applicable, be governed by, conducted in accordance with the following, giving procedures as listed: the state party plan, district or unit plan or bylaws, these rules, and otherwise in accordance with Robert's Rules of Order, newly revised edition. Any person may attend the mass meeting, but only eligible voters duly registered by the Credentials Committee may have the floor unless specifically recognized by the chair. Only eligible voters duly registered by the Credentials Committee may vote. No proxies are allowed at any time. All voters shall meet the requirements as specified in the call of the mass meeting. The Credentials Committee shall report on the proper credentials of each voter and decide any question that may arise concerning eligibility to participate. No one will be allowed on the mass meeting floor without proper credentials displayed. A roll call shall be taken at the request of 1/5 of the total mass meeting votes as certified by the Credentials Committee. Elections shall require a majority of the total mass meeting vote as certified by the Credentials Committee. There shall be no cumulative voting. No voter may change his or her vote after it has been collected or recorded by the unit chairman or a teller appointed by the unit chairman. Upon adoption of these rules, the temporary officers of the mass meeting shall be made permanent. Candidates for office may speak for a total of 10 minutes each. This includes nominators and candidates. Representatives of Ed Gillespie and Bob Goodlatte may speak for 5 minutes each. No resolution may be presented from the floor unless first submitting in writing to the Resolutions Committee for consideration. Each resolution shall be considered separately in order contained in the committee report. The order of business shall be set forth below, provided, however, that upon a majority vote of the mass meeting, an item may be omitted or added. The chairman of the mass meeting may interpret the order as he or she may deem appropriate. Reading of the call of the party secretary, election of the temporary chairman, election of the temporary secretary, appointment of the temporary parliamentarian, timekeeper and sergeant at arms, appointment of temporary committees, meetings of the committees, credentials committee report, rules committee report, final report of the credentials committee, nominations of candidates for public office, nominations committee report speeches, elections of persons or party offices for this supervisor position, resolutions commission committee report, other business, adjournment. I, Marshall Patty, Chair of the Rules Committee, given this report and make the adoption, or make the motion to adopt it.
Motion to adopt, no second is required. All in favor of adopting Rules Committee signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? One item that we had on that we'll need to address, the reading of the call. Do you all wish to have the call read, or do I have a motion to dispense with the reading of the call?
We dispense, recommend you read it for the record. Make sure everybody's clear enough before you do that.
You do recommend reading of the call.
I know.
George, can you come read the call, please?
Okay, I'm going to start with I, Dan Moxley, who was actually the chairman of the Augusta County Republican Committee, hereby issue the call for a mass meeting to be held in the boardroom at the Government Center, 18 Government Center Lane, Verona, at 7 p.m. on August 11, 2014, for the purpose of nominating a Republican candidate for the office of County Supervisor for the South River District to be voted for in the general election on November 4, 2014. If only one candidate pre-files for the District Board of Supervisor, the pre-filed candidate shall be declared the nominee and the call for the mass meeting canceled. Qualifications for participation. All legal and qualified voters of the South River District of Augusta County, regardless of race, religion, color, national origin, or sex, under the laws of the Commonwealth of Virginia, who are in accord with the principles of the Republican Party and who will express in open meeting, if requested, their intent to support all of its nominees for public office in the ensuing election, may participate as members of the Republican Party of Virginia in this mass meeting. Filing requirements. All individuals interested in seeking the nomination for this office must express their interest in writing to the chairman of the Augusta County Committee by 5 p.m. August 4th, 2014, at the address below. The fee is $150. Postmarks will not govern. It gives Dan Moxley's address. Registration for mass meetings. Registration for the mass meeting will begin at 6:30 p.m. and end at 7 p.m. All persons in line by 7 p.m. will be allowed to register for the mass meeting. A voluntary donation of $5 is requested to help cover expenses of the meeting, and was signed by Dan Moxley, Chairman, authorized by the Augusta County Republican Committee.
We are still waiting on the Credentials Committee. That will be the next item that we will need to have. Okay, well, I will ask for the Nominations Committee report to be submitted. Mr. Randy Howe.
There are two candidates for this office, Tanya Gigliotti and Carolyn Bragg. They have pre-filed and their paperwork is in order and on time. And I move that this report be accepted.
Motion to accept the Nominations Committee report. No seconds required. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Report is there. I will brief the candidates at this point. Each of you will have 10 minutes for speeches. You may give a speech yourself. You also may have someone else give a speech for you. But the total time allotted for each candidate will be 10 minutes. That will come after we have all the Credentials Committee thing. Are there any questions from the candidates? If both candidates will come forward, I will flip a coin as to see the order in which you all will hear. Ms. Shrewsbury to come forward and give the report of the Credentials Committee, please.
Mr. Chairman, thank you. The Credentials Committee have reviewed all of the registrants for tonight, and we have determined that we have a total of 91 registered participants in tonight's mass meeting. And I would just like to say thank you for everyone who has come out, because your participation is so vital to this process. So thank you.
I will ask our timekeeper to come forward. We're ready to hear from our candidates, what they have to say, and I ask that you listen carefully. Ms. Gigliotti, you are first. If you will come forward, or your representative.
Thank you all. I especially want to thank those that came out on such short notice. Those that were going to support me, of course, kind of got called off and then called back on. And so they had about 2 hours notice, as did I, hurrying to work to get here. I do want to say one of the things that I'm really concerned about is the Republican Party. And I would really like to see some changes and some unity in the Republican Party, as would you all, I'm sure. It's a necessity if you really want to get something done in the county, in the state. Of course, I was introduced as Ms. Gigliotti, I think, or it's actually Tanya Gigliotti, but it's okay, I will answer whatever. I have been in Augusta County South River District for about over 15 years. And I run a ministry called Restoration Ministries of Virginia. Some of you may have recognized that, some may not. Some may recognize it as the Big Give. We were very involved with that and started that at Expo for the hurting families of the county to come to. My thing in life is to not look out for my own interest, but the interest of others. And I have had that on my heart for a long time. It's not just a little quote from the Bible. It is my passion. And I have worked that passion for the last 18 years here in Augusta County, not with pay, but because I believe that people need to be helped. And this is what I believe that government needs to be, is not looking out for their own interest, but the interest of others. And I think somewhere we've lost that. I would like to really see that come back, to look out for the interest of the people that we're supposed to represent. That's what I will be about. I will say that not only have I run a ministry, a nonprofit organization for the last 18 years in Augusta County, but also prior to that I was a state police officer, retired state police officer from Florida. And I know of the issues. I know of issues that are happening here. I have felt them myself. I know that the people in South River that I help on a daily basis, and the calls that I get, and if some of you work for, I see a few people out here that work for other nonprofits that understand and know the need that the people have here in Augusta County. I would like to see us put you first, us second, to really get back to where it should be. I have asked Jamie Higginbotham. Somebody may have a question, is that? Okay. If anybody has a question for me, that would be fine.
It all occurs into the 10 minutes.
Okay. If not, I would like to ask Jamie, would you come and speak? Thank you very much. I have not brought up very many issues. In fact, I brought up no issues. And the reason that I did not do that is because I am stepping into a very uncomfortable place. But I am also used to the uncomfortable. And I know that I can learn whatever needs to be learned here, but I also know that I want to keep the people first.
I was going to be providing an introduction, but she's already made her own introduction, but I told her I wouldn't mind saying a few words on her behalf. I've known Tanya for many years. I worked with her at the Big Give at Expo. Some of you, if you're in the church circles, you're familiar with it. If you're in any philanthropic ventures in the area, you probably know who she is. Otherwise, you probably don't. She's the best servant I've ever seen in my entire life. I've never seen anybody that could lead by example any better than Tanya Gigliotti. I've never seen anybody with my own eyes that was a better example of what a Christian should be, not just giving lip service to people and saying, hey, be warm and be fed, but actually warming them and feeding them. And it's made me reevaluate my own life, my own service to my community. And regardless of why you're here, who you vote for, a lot of you are my friends and neighbors. You're here on Carolyn's behalf. I mean, whoever we vote for, I pray for, And I think that's why we're all here. But the thing I wanted you to know is who she was, who she is, and what she stands for. She truly does put herself before other people. I saw a marquee one time, and it was actually a church in Harrisonburg. Many of you know me as an official, sports official, either on basketball court or baseball field, so you probably don't know me. You've yelled at me, and that's all right. But the sign said, and this is only applicable to Christians, but it said, God first, others second, you last. And if we're really going to be about God's business, if we're really going to make effective change, even if you're not a Christian, we should still put other people before ourselves. We should still put our neighbors at least on the same plane as ourselves. And the only reason why I'm standing here tonight is I would be lucky to have Tanya be on the board of supervisors for our district, but I'd feel fortunate if she was in any part of our leadership in Augusta County. So with that, I'll yield the floor. Thank you for your time.
She is giving up the floor. Next, I will ask Mrs. Craig to come forward, or her representative.
Hi there, folks. Recognize an awful lot of them. You know, I'm just delighted that I've had the opportunity to come here and remind all you folks about this lady sitting down here. She's not only a wonderful mother and a friend, but she's a go-getter. You know, it's, I think perhaps 100 years ago that I used to be on the Board of Supervisors. You know, I have a little bit of a feel for what it takes to do that job. And I'd like to go over a few of those characteristics that are needed for the job that this lady possesses. So I'm not going to take much time, but I'm going to go over them very carefully. You know, she's a business owner. She's had the problem of making payrolls and making payrolls when times were tough, but she did it. She's worked with these ungodly rules that we have to work with, set up by our federal government and some of the state rules that make running a small business very difficult. But she's done it. And she's also paid the taxes that you and I are paying plus. So she really knows her stuff in that regard. She's demonstrated that she really is interested in the community. I think every time that you go into the store and meet with her, she's got a smile on her face and she's willing to talk to you and others about what needs fixing. And she's really interested in, she's a good listener. She is, for instance, some of the good things that she's done is, for 10 years, she's been on the committee to do Sweet Dreams. You know, that's that one-day occasion that we have at Stewart Strath Park where everyone comes and has a good time for free. And she's been instrumental in running that. She deserves a lot of credit. And then, behold, she decided that we needed a Christmas parade. And she pulled it off, didn't she?
Very well.
What a job. Talk about somebody that's interested in the community. She's really one that does it. Another thing that you may not know, but I think maybe you probably do, is she's been appointed by the present Board of Supervisors to fill out the term of Dave Byler, who died not too long ago. And I think that was in May, wasn't it? March. And since March, she's been to every one of our waste treatment plants, every one of our wells, every one of our schools. She's been to every department within Augusta County government to find out what's going on and to be informed and to do her, so that she can do her job and do it well. And I've already heard from some of the people that are on the current Board of Supervisors, and they've said, well done, you really know your stuff. And that's a lot of work, that's a lot of effort, and she didn't get paid for that. She's out there doing it. As I mentioned earlier, she's really dedicated to others, making the county better. She has no other aspirations. As far as I know, she doesn't want to be president. Oh, she'd make a good one. I think if you elect this lady, she would really polish the image of the Republican Party, and it does need some polishing. I think she'd do the kind of job that she'd be proud of, the kind of job that you say, she's my neighbor, she knows what she's doing, and she's looking out for me. So, I'll close with saying that I think you ought to vote for her. Not only for all of her qualifications, but for that infectious smile that you have. That the minute you see that lady walking down the street, from here to here, you know that she's the kind of person that you want representing you. So I ask you tonight, please vote for this wonderful lady, Carol. Thank you, Carol.
Thank you very much, I really appreciate that. And I want to welcome everybody here and let you know how much it means to everybody to see the process work, to see you all come out and to support the candidate of your choice. I do want to thank the number of special elected officials and guests that we have present with us. As it was stated, my name is Carolyn Bragg. I'm married, one son, and I've been a member of the Stewart Draft community for over 22 years. I'm also your current representative, as John said, on the Augusta County Board of Supervisors. I was appointed this spring after the passing of Dave Byler, who served our community for many, many years, and we appreciate that and thank his family for that. I grew up on a farm in Rockingham County. My father was a small business owner. We operated J.S. Stickley & Son as a farm implement business, for any of those that are familiar with that particular business. In the past, I've also been involved in the hospitality industry and in education. I've taught both the high school students and worked with adult education programs. But because of my family background in retail, I really had a love for that small business and decided to become a small business operator myself. And as was stated, I do own the 7-Eleven in Stewart's Draft. It's kind of the place that people can come and they can visit with people and they can visit with each other, and it's just a great place to be. Community service has always been a way of life for me. After purchasing this store, I started to become involved in my local community. At one time in Stewart's Draft, we had a Lions Club, we had a business association, we had a crime prevention council when I first got here. I was a member of all of those groups, and in most of them I served as an officer of some type. My son, as he grew, I became an active leader in our Cub Scout pack and was a den leader. I also, as he progressed, I became the den leader, or the Cub Master for the pack. I was also active in the district at the district level for scouting. As Braxton moved into middle school, I worked to restart the Parents Association there. That's now known as the Cougar Club. I served as its president for several years. During that time, I was presented with the Outstanding Service in Public Education Award, which was presented by the Augusta County Education Association. And of course, as John said, many of you are familiar with Sweet Dreams. It's been a number of years that that's been going on. It gets better and grows every year. We have somewhere between 8,000 to 10,000 participants on that one day, that people that come and visit. Depending on the weather, they don't do rain. Understandably, and when it's 110 degrees, it's not such a good thing either, but that's okay. But I have worked very hard on that. Additionally, I have been awarded by our Ruetan Club and had the honor to be awarded the Outstanding Citizens Award for Stewart's Draft. And I also serve on the board of directors for the Blue Ridge Soapbox Derby, so that's another little fun side thing that we do. As John said, lastly, my latest great project, of course, was starting our first annual Stewart's Draft Christmas Parade. We are now working with the rescue squad members. We're now working on the second annual Stewart's Draft Christmas Parade. Mark your calendars, December the 13th. Busy, busy day. So floats, the whole 9 yards. As I mentioned in the beginning, I do currently serve as your representative on the Augusta County Board of Supervisors. During the last several months, I have spent countless hours learning about our services and about the programs that the county has to offer its citizens. I've been to the dams, I've been to water systems and sewer plants, and I've spent a lot of time at the county landfills and so forth, as he said. I'm here tonight. I would like to have the opportunity to continue to serve you as your representative on the South River District. I come before you asking that you select me as your Republican representative on the November 4th ballot. My interest and concern is about what is happening in our community, our roads, schools, drainage issues, we have pipelines, and whatever else may come our way that will affect our community members. I also have the desire to not only serve our community, but Augusta County as a whole. I would like to be a part of the team that works as one unit to improve the lives of the citizens of our great county. I support our small business community. I believe in fiscal responsibility, and I bring to you a true desire to serve. Thank you for your vote.
I want to thank both candidates for putting themselves out for this type of thing, and to come to something like this and truly serve the citizens of this county. It takes an effort, and it takes some dedication, and it takes a lot of commitment, and I commend both of them for coming forward. At this time, I'm going to ask Ms. Shrewsbury as head teller to come forward and tell you the process. I will also ask each candidate to send one person forward also to observe the ballots as they're put in and to go with the counting of the ballots. So I need one person from each candidate.
For all registered participants tonight, you were given a red ticket when you were registered. That ticket is what you will need when you come forward in order to receive a ballot. You'll come to the podium here. I will take the red ticket, hand you a ballot. You can step here, make your selection, and we'll drop it in the box. I'll need the two representatives, one from each campaign, to come forward and watch the ballots be placed in the box. Who will be representing Mrs. Bragg? Who will be representing Tanya? Tanya, I'm afraid I'll mess your name up, so I'm going to call you by your first name. The chairman is going to call you by road so that we won't have a mass stampede. Okay?
We will start with this side on the front row, if you all will come first. Again, this is for registered voters who signed up at the beginning from the South River District. Our next procedure is what we will be doing. The representative of each candidate and the head teller will go into the back room and be counting the ballots. We will announce at the completion of the counting the winner.
Mr. Chairman, I don't know how close you are to counting the votes.
We have results.
You have results. Congratulations, folks. You're fixing to find out.
Mr. Chairman, before you read those results, may I ask one question, please?
Yes.
I don't understand how it's fair that Mrs. Gigliotti was informed there was not going to be a meeting tonight. All of her friends and family were told not to come tonight, and then 2 hours earlier, oh, there's going to be a meeting tonight. I don't understand how that's a fair representation of her people and family that do represent her.
I will leave that up for the chairman of the Augusta County Republican Party to reply. I'm only temporary chairman of this meeting,
Okay, thank you.
but I would ask him that question. Ladies and gentlemen, I want to present to you your Republican representative on the ballot for the South River District, Ms. Carolyn Bragg.
Thank you all so much for coming out and for being part of the process. I really appreciate your support. I look forward as we go on into the season. I hope that you all will join me in supporting our candidates. Of course, we will support our candidates, but that you will help me to promote them and their candidacies actively within our community. I hope that we can all come together now and serve the residents in the South River District and Augusta County as a whole. And again, thank you so much for everything you've done this evening.
I will remind you all, next Tuesday evening, 7 o'clock in this room is the Augusta County Republican Committee meeting. You are all invited to participate. We would like to have as many people out as possible. We want you a part of the process. It is a process within the party, and we invite you to be a part of that process. Knowing of no further business, I declare this meeting adjourned.